All right, let's get right into it. We all go through our days, we talk to people, we interact, but have you ever really stopped to think about the invisible mark we leave behind? And I'm not talking about your social media trail. I'm talking about the space we take up in other people's minds. Today, we're going to unpack the architecture of our mental footprint.
I mean, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? After a good conversation, or maybe after meeting someone new, you get that little thought in the back of your head. Did I make any kind of impression? Are they thinking about me at all? It's a fundamental human curiosity.
And this curiosity, well, it leads us to what I call the mental footprint mystery. It's this fascinating puzzle because so often what we think people notice about us and what they actually notice are two completely different things.
And here's the core of that mystery. On one side, you've got this thing called the spotlight effect. It's that nagging feeling, that fear, that everyone is watching your every move, judging every little mistake. But the reality? It's usually the total opposite. It's what the source material calls quiet power. It turns out that when you're just being your authentic self, not trying to steal the show, you create this kind of intrigue. You become a little bit of a mystery that people genuinely want to figure out.
So, how do we crack this case? How do we know for sure? Well, the key is to develop a skill, something called observational intelligence. Now, this isn't about becoming a mind reader, not at all. It's about learning to spot the subtle, real-world clues that prove you are, in fact, on someone's mind. This is going to be our primary tool for this investigation.
So let's put on our social detective hats. We're about to go through the 5 biggest telltale clues that show you've left a mental footprint. And the best part? This evidence is usually hiding right there in plain sight. You just have to know what you're looking for.
All right, let's get to our first piece of evidence. And honestly, this one is probably the most clear-cut sign you can get.
Think about your own life for a second. We are all so busy, right? Our days are packed. So for someone to just stop what they're doing and reach out with no agenda, not asking for a favor, not trying to schedule something, that means a thought of you popped into their head, and that thought was strong enough to make them actually do something about it.
And boom, here it is in the wild. A text like this is basically Exhibit A. It's direct evidence. You aren't just the next person in a conversation chain. Your file was spontaneously pulled from their mental archives. That is a major mental footprint.
Okay, on to our second clue. Now, this one is a little different because it's about what happens when you're not even there.
You know, when a friend says something like, "Oh, that's so funny, we were just talking about you the other day," that is such a powerful sign. It means you don't just exist in one person's mind in a vacuum. You've become a reference point, a character in the stories and discussions they have with other people. Hearing this from someone is solid proof. It means some topic came up and their brain's search engine immediately pinged a result connected to you. You're officially part of their web of associations. It's a huge tell.
Now, our third clue is really subtle. It's quiet, but honestly, it might be the most powerful and meaningful clue of them all. Look, our brains are constantly being flooded with information. We are literally designed to forget most of it, just to survive. So, when someone remembers a tiny, seemingly unimportant detail that you mentioned weeks or even months ago, that's not random. That's a choice. It means in that moment they were truly listening, and their brain flagged that piece of information about you as important, as something worth saving.
Wow. I mean, an action like this is just profound, isn't it? They didn't just hear you, they processed what you said, filed it away, and then retrieved it later. That shows a mental footprint that's not just on the surface. It's deep. It's lasting.
Okay, for our fourth clue, we're shifting gears. We're moving away from what people say and focusing on something a lot more primal.
You see, our minds and our bodies are totally connected. When someone's brain is genuinely locked in on you and what you're saying, their body can't help but give away the secret. This is where that observational intelligence we talked about really becomes your superpower.
So here's what you're looking for. The unconscious stuff. Are they subtly mirroring your posture? When you're telling a story, do you notice them physically leaning in, like they can't get close enough? Even their feet. In a group, are their feet pointing towards you? These aren't conscious decisions. These are physical signs that their brain is saying, pay attention. This person matters right now.
And that brings us to our fifth and final clue in this investigation. This one is all about how connections are formed in the brain.
This is when your mental footprint really starts to spread out onto their map of the world. They'll be out and about, they'll see something, a book, a car, a song on the radio, and their brain will instantly connect it back to you. You've basically become a tag in their mental filing system. And this is the classic example, right? That book was just sitting on a shelf. But the second they saw it,
Their brain sent up a little notification. Alert! This belongs in the things your name would like category. Your footprint is no longer just about you, it's now attached to other things out there in the world. So, we've looked at all the clues, we've gathered the evidence. What's the final verdict in our mystery? Well, it turns out that the biggest impact we have isn't loud or flashy. It's built quietly through being real and authentic. So here's what it all boils down to. First, your impact, your footprint, is almost always quieter, but way deeper than you think. That spotlight effect is mostly just in your head. Second, that quiet power makes you intriguing. It makes you a puzzle people want to solve. The key is to start using your observational intelligence to spot these real, subtle signs. Because ultimately, your mental footprint, that's your true social signature. It's the unique and authentic mark you leave on the people you meet.
And so that leaves us with one final thought. As you go through your week, try it out. Start looking for these clues. Become that social detective. Now that you know how to read the signs, what story is your mental footprint really telling?